The Beatles breakup is one of the biggest discussions in music history. Every member had their own version of why things imploded in the band, but even 55 years after the official split, fans continue to speculate on what happened. Regardless of what each fan personally believes, there's no denying that the unofficial power structure within the group was a big point of contention. John Lennon and Paul McCartney even discuss it in the Peter Jackson documentary, The Beatles, Get Back. George Harrison wasn't shy of expressing his discontent with how things worked towards the end of their time together, explaining that he only got one or two of his own songs on each album, while the rest were supposed to always be Lennon-McCartney. But what a lot of fans don't know is that on these two Beatles classics, he actually contributed lyrics. Songwriting credits are always a touchy subject in bands, and the Beatles were no exception. In their beginnings, things were fairly straightforward because John Lennon and Paul McCartney were the only ones writing. They had been writing together since they were teenagers, and when the band became successful, they made it official. Every song they wrote, no matter who contributed more or less, would be credited to Lennon-McCartney. That partnership is regarded as one of the most successful of all time, but it could only work seamlessly when they were the only songwriters in the group. By the mid-60s, George Harrison was blooming as a songwriter and demanding, first timidly, and then with more force, for his contributions to be listened to and included. Lennon and McCartney agreed, to a certain extent. Harrison got a max of 3 songs per record, though more often than not, it was less than that. So, naturally, resentment started to build. Especially because even when he didn't get credit, Harrison undoubtedly contributed to creating some of the biggest Lennon-McCartney classics, something that he complained about in 1987. During an interview, he was asked about his falling out with Lennon before his death. Harrison had released an autobiography in 1980 titled I, Me, Mine, after his song from the Let It Be album, and Lennon had reportedly felt hurt by Harrison not mentioning what a big influence he had been on his songwriting. He was annoyed because I didn't say that he had written one line of the song Taxman, Harrison explained, but he pointed out that he also didn't say how I wrote 2 lines to Come Together or 3 lines to Eleanor Rigby. He went on to say that he had simply decided not to get into the songwriting aspect altogether, but that if he had, he would have had more reason to be upset than Lennon did. Those 2 songs, which are undoubtedly among the Beatles' most successful ones, were credited solely to Lennon-McCartney. So it makes sense that Harrison would be upset to be called out about one line in one song when he had felt slighted for years.